Welcome to the MacGuffin, episode 276. I'm Spencer.
I'm Greg.
Today we're going to give you our DVD rundown for the week of September 17th.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's a pretty good week, actually.
Not too shabby, yeah.
I mean, the releases are sort of so-so, but there's a fair amount of interesting, noteworthy stuff that's coming out.
Yeah, not too much coming out. That's great overall, but it's good that what is coming out at least has some quality releases.
I like the projects. There's a fair amount of projects. It's not too bad. It's not too bad.
There's a lot of just things that are just like on Blu-ray when I was looking.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, now Frasier season 4 on Blu-ray. That wasn't one of the options, but
got everyone's hopes up and then crushed them down.
There's some guy out there who only has the first 3 seasons. It's like, no, I thought
I can relate to that. Third watch. When are you coming back to DVD? Let's start though with the big release of the week, and that is World War Z. Mm-hmm. This is the was it Max Brooks' book turned movie about the zombie apocalypse?
Yes.
Very loose.
Yes, very loose. As I was describing off camera, if you're a fan of the book heavily, you can do one of two things to enjoy this movie. Either view it as a prequel to the acts in the book, or just view it as a completely different movie that happens to have the same name, because that might be the only thing that is
closer to reality.
Really close in the two is the title.
Yeah. But, in terms of the release, it covers all the formats we like. We got the Blu-ray 3D, the Blu-ray, the DVD, digital copy all together, which we're always fans of.
Oh, yeah.
Special features a little light. There's one about the film's production.
Okay.
There's one looking at the science, which we like. We've talked about that with like Fringe and a few other projects where we like the discussion of like reality versus fiction.
Yes, which is one of the few elements of the book that carried over into this, which is kind of the semi-realistic global view of what would happen and how people would react.
And then the big sort of 4-part documentary is the thing that sort of is the crux of the special features, where there's a detailed look at the film's opening sequence, focuses on the visual effects, examination of the Israeli action sequence, and making the film's extended airliner sequence. So those are basically the 4 sections of the documentary.
I really hope that production aspect touches on the rewrite.
I don't think so.
Probably not. They probably don't want to showcase how their original version of the film was so misaligned and hated that they had to spend an additional 60 pages and an additional $20 million to rewrite. They got Damon Lindelof and Drew Goddard, both amazing screenwriters, as well as Christopher McQuarrie doing some uncredited dialogue sharpening.
Which kind of is a little bit alarming that they need so many people to come in and fix everything, but what you're going to do.
And part of that, from what I read, part of that was things in the original draft that were specifically put in setting up the idea of a trilogy. So setting up sequel or trilogy that just were making the movie in itself not work.
Which is funny, because now that's the very thing they're talking about again, is trying to make this into a multi-chapter thing.
But considering how much of the quality of the book, or a quantity of the book that they just completely did not touch, they still have plenty of source material to work with, sadly.
But no commentary tracks or anything like that. I will say, though,
it would be nice to get Brad Pitt. He was a big promoter for this. He might have a lot to say about
I can't believe they didn't get him for that. But they will say the 3D version does not contain the extended cut of the film, but the 2D version is an extended
Interesting
cut.
choice.
Yeah.
Interesting
choice.
Well,
I mean, they probably didn't want to do like the necessary visual effects.
That's probably good on all those scenes that they didn't use.
They don't want to do that. But so that's, an unexpected, pleasant surprise is what I would say then.
Yeah, I mean, Brad Pitt, it's entertainingly enough, it's Brad Pitt's, I think, biggest box office hit, and his first solo, or his first film that I think he was headlining in a number of years that did really well. It was really good career for him. Yeah. Even if nobody else succeeds out of this movie, he got something out of it. But he needs more.
In the opposite direction, though, we had the Bling Ring.
Yes.
Which is the Sofia Coppola, I don't know what you call it, drama based on reality.
Yeah.
It's a crime story. Based on a story of some young criminals, teenagers, I believe, largely, who went and robbed a bunch of celebrities down in L.A.,
including Paris Hilton.
Very famously robbed her, and amusingly enough, she appears in the movie, and the sequences in which they rob her house in the movie is her actual house.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, Sofia Coppola spent some lunch times with the actual convicted burglar, Nick Frank Prugo, the basis of the film's character, Mark. Prugo and his gang of thieves reportedly stole over $3 million from celebrity homes.
And no surprise, a lot of the people after the fact started claiming it wasn't accurate. It wasn't reality.
Interestingly enough, after serving a year in jail, Brugo claimed as of May 2013 that he'd not seen the film. So maybe by now is his time. Now it's he'll get it on that home release.
I mean, the film was decent. It comes out on Blu-ray Ultraviolet or DVD Ultraviolet. No full Spectrum one, but Ultraviolet Spectrum, get that? That was a good joke.
Hey, I see what you did there.
But it's kind of an interesting perspective. Emma Watson is very good in it. She's very un-Hermione-like.
Yes.
Very much more provocative.
Yes, weird bits of trivia I found trying to look into this movie. First off, it's Sofia Coppola's third movie involving pole dancing. Okay.
Really?
And it's Emma Watson's first film role in a film not based on a book.
Wow.
Even though it is based in reality, so it's still based on something. So it's she
probably technically based on an article, I would bet.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
probably.
But in terms of special features, there's a short little documentary on Sophia, or on the set with Sophia and the cast and crew.
I have such a troubled relationship with Sofia Coppola.
Me too. You're not alone there. There's also behind the real Bling Ring, some information on the real story which inspired the film, and then perhaps one of the more interesting ones is a scene of the crime with Paris Hilton, where Paris Hilton actually gives her personal retrospective on the robberies and sort of showcases, her home and what was done there. Which is,
so it's going to be like MTV Cribs with
pretty much,
Paris Hilton.
except talking about being robbed.
Supposedly, yeah. This is where they broke in. This is where they walked through.
One of the more
unique.
unique.
What they took that I've replaced and didn't notice because I am made of money.
I will say, it is very one of the more unique special features I've seen on a DVD.
I will agree with that.
So
I will agree that is fairly unique as far as special features
go. But again, no commentary tracks, no nothing. Like, I would love to hear the actual Bling Ring people do a commentary track of this movie. Yeah. How interesting would that be?
How easy would it be to just get some celebrities that either had been burglarized or
Rachel
just
Bilson,
literally you could
Paris
get some
Hilton.
random celebrities.
Clearly, Paris Hilton's not out of the loop on this one, so I don't know. Maybe.
To just be like, this is why I got a security system.
Yeah. In the more less theatrical, more television market, we're going to
9:6, or what is it?
16:9.
Yeah, 6:9 ratio.
We're going to talk about season 1 of Bates Motel.
Yes.
This is the young Norman Bates TV show starring Vera Farmiga and Freddie Highmore.
Because there weren't enough Psycho trilogy or sequels and remakes that they just let's go into prequel territory because obviously that's what you got left.
Well, I will say talented cast, as I mentioned already.
Yes.
Showrunner, I believe, was Carlton Cuse from Lost.
Okay.
So they got some talented people there, and Norman Bates is an interesting, iconic character. So there's a few things going for it.
And if the success of Hannibal is anything, people like antiheroes.
Yes.
Not counting the horrible ending of Dexter's.
To be fair, and I haven't been able to finish season 1 of this quite yet, but he's not really an anti-hero in it yet.
Okay.
Like, he's still a regular
kid with messed up mom?
Yeah, he's still a relatively, teenage kid.
Okay.
Obviously, it's almost like, I don't want to call it like Twin Peaks or something like that, but the town itself that he lives in is pretty messed up.
Okay.
So it's sort of like him existing in this sort of weird
Erie,
world.
Indiana?
Yeah, that's a good call. Very good call. I actually
Love that show.
Yeah, it was a great call.
Props to that show.
But yeah, it's sort of an interesting show, and I'm curious to sort of see the evolution of it. You have to get to a certain point with that Norman Bates character. It's going to be interesting to see how they evolve.
What channel was it on? Network? Annie. Huh. Yeah. Interesting channel on television.
Yeah, I don't know why, but good for them. It comes on Blu-ray with an ultraviolet or DVD with an ultraviolet, so it's cool to see a TV show with the digital copy included as well. Special features, very minimal. There's deleted scenes, and there's a featurette at the Paley Center where there was a panel discussion with the cast and creative team. Yeah, so that's a pretty much
find that on YouTube probably.
But no commentary tracks, no anything else, no behind-the-scenes production info, anything like that.
Why we decided to make this show.
Totally, I would love to hear a more sort of thoughtful documentary about making this iconic character into a TV show.
I would love to. I got to do some research one of these days to figure out who makes those decisions. If it's people involved in making the film, or if it's just studios that get involved.
I would say it's probably the studios.
I would say probably studios most likely, but it would be interesting to see how much of that, if they only do it if the studio brings it up, or if they can bring their own thing. I don't know.
Finally, this week, the last one we're going to talk about is the Criterion Blu-ray release of Slacker.
Yes.
This is the Richard Linklater classic from, gosh, what was it, 1991.
I know. His debut, I think, film
no,
debut.
there's actually a film before that.
Oh, really?
Which is called It's Impossible to Learn to Plow by Reading Books, which is actually on this.
Right.
With a commentary from Richard Linklater.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. I think it's been a long time since I've seen either.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I mean, 22 years for this one just alone. But first up, we should note that this is more of a Blu-ray bump than an actual release. So, but it's still such an iconic film.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is the film that inspired Kevin Smith to become a filmmaker and then make Clerks, because he saw this movie and he was like, well, shit, I can do that. And then there's also a book about it afterwards that he read. An interesting, just a little picture in time to give you an idea about this film that I find fascinating, especially since a couple weeks back we talked about Getaway with Ethan Hawke. The average movie has, between 500 and 1,000 cuts, depending on sometimes you hear more. Getaway had 6,150. Slacker had 163.
Wow.
That's it. And almost a third of those come from the last 5 minutes during the Super 8 film scene, which would involve lots of cuts.
You're doing indie film. It's keep costs
just
down.
Roll, slice at end, beginning. There you go. Scene done.
But I mean, if you haven't already bought this film, it's got a lot of stuff. I mean, there's a new HD restored transfer, which is cool.
Yeah.
There's 3 audio commentary tracks featuring Linklater and members of the cast and crew.
Criterion,
there's that first film, as we mentioned. There is a 60 millimeter short also by Linklater on there. Casting tapes from more than 100 cast members. Deleted scenes, footage from the 10th anniversary reunion. Original theatrical trailer, early treatment, home movies, blah, 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 blah. It's so much stuff.
I would be interested to see how this movie looks with an HD bump, considering it was already shot so low quality. It's one of those things that, in general, I always have found interesting, 70 millimeter versions of an old crappy movie. And it's
I think,
obviously some of the old classics were shot in that format in the first place.
Transfers could do well. I mean, I think back, what they did cleaning up, the Royal Tenenbaums and stuff like that, and that looked really pristine.
True.
So maybe they cleaned it up a little bit.
Maybe it looks mind-poppingly new.
Yeah.
You'd think it was in 2009.
And don't confuse this with the Devon Sawa Slackers.
Yes, Slackers. Plural.
Very different film.
Very different film. Also very weird. Also very fun in its own different way.
Good on you, Criterion, for that. And that's it for this week. Join us next time as we discuss
Prisoners.
Yes, the new thriller.
Yeah. Jake Gyllenhaal and Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good times. And as always, you can find us at MacGuffin. That's MacGuff.in. We're on Twitter.com/MacGuffinCast, Facebook.com/MacGuffinPodcast. Phone number 323-761-9842. We're on iTunes. We're on Blip.tv, Miro, Roku.
Check in and get glues. You get some stickers. Leave some stars on iTunes and some thumbs on YouTube.
Comment on there as well. And we'll hit you back, and we'll see you next time.
T-1000 can't stop me. I'm on fire tonight. Magneto can't stop me. I'm on fire tonight. Even Zod can't stop me. I'm on fire tonight. It's tight. Don't even try to bite the side of style. Mr. Spock can't stop me. I'm on fire tonight. The Wrath of Khan can't stop me. I'm on fire tonight. The Borg can't stop me. I'm on fire tonight. Because I've got space game and it feels all